You can get this strong and lean body and you can maintain it. And, just because it hasn't worked for you in the past doesn't mean that it's not going to work for you now. Hello, gorgeous. I am so excited to be on the podcast with you right now to talk about what we're going to talk about. And this is definitely an episode where there's a little bit more grace that I want to encourage you to have with yourself. And our focus today is going to be the whole idea that your fitness can change and it can evolve. And depending on what you are currently doing, it doesn't mean that you are stuck to that for life. Now, something that I do believe is beneficial for every single woman, no matter what stage she is at in regards to her fitness, is there needs to be some degree of strength training with the focus of being able to be independent and healthy for the rest of our lives. So what that means is I'm always going to encourage women that there is some degree of strength training, focusing on building muscle and doing functional exercises that are going to be with us from now until the day that we die. So understand that's kind of a given. But when it comes to strength training, science tells us that we ideally want to be strength training 3 to 5 times a week. And for anybody who's listening to this right now and you're just like, yeah, I'm already doing it 5 times, there might be a time where it's like, I kind of want to focus my energy and attention on something slightly different. And that might be when you start to drop that 5 times of strength training down to 3 times. But I want to back things up for a moment and just kind of remind you where all of my fitness stuff really started. So up until 25, I was a true cardio bunny. I was doing a lot of HIIT workouts. I was doing a lot of cycling workouts, a lot of group fitness. I was doing yoga. I was doing bar. I was taking this stuff. I was teaching this stuff. Weights were nothing I ever thought I was going to get into, let alone kettlebells. And I remember once I started training with the kettlebells, I finally achieved something that I was working really hard to try to get. I just had the wrong strategy. And that was to get a toned looking body and doing it in a healthy way where I was able to, work out for like an hour and actually get to eat without starving myself, because that was really my MO throughout my teens. I struggled with an eating disorder. I abused cardio and I severely restricted what I did eat, or I would, take other means to get rid of whatever I ate. But once I started working with kettlebells, I started to develop a stronger body that had more muscle than I was ever used to. When I started training with the kettlebells, I was able to start doing pull-ups and different bodyweight exercises that I thought were really cool and really badass. And I trained this way with the kettlebells, really just trying to get a basic foundation for strength training for a few years. And then I decided I wanted to go after a Guinness World Record. And when I did my training for my record, my event was in the Turkish getup. So my record is for the heaviest weight lifted in the hour with the Turkish getup. So I literally did Turkish getups nonstop for an hour. So it kind of sounds like, oh, this must have been a strength event. And sure, there was definitely a strength component, but it was very much an endurance event. So I ended up doing 188 reps within an hour. And that meant just moving non-stop up and down. And it was really challenging and it was really taxing. And the way that I trained for it was very much having a focus on the Turkish getup and prioritizing upper body lifts, because that was the part that needed to gain the most strength, and then doing endurance work. This was a time where I wasn't doing like a lot of deadlifting. I wasn't doing a lot of my pulling patterns because that wasn't the focus. So I had about a year where I was really just, in this season of training for this one performance goal. And then when I finished that performance goal, I was also at a place with my body where I was not happy. I feel so silly like saying all of this now because I feel like I just should have known better, but at the same time, you don't know what you don't know. And while I was training for my record, I was not working with a registered dietitian, and I was trying to do keto simultaneously that year, and I ended up gaining a lot of weight. And after I did my record, I said, I really just want to take time and focus on getting my body to a place where I feel really good, I feel really confident, and my whole focus shifted. And my whole focus shifted to doing all of my basic compound lifts, like my squats and my deadlifts and my pushing and my pulling patterns, and really dialing into nutrition. And that was great. And I didn't put anything else extra on myself for, I'm trying to think, when I did that first season, I was really just focused on this stuff for about a year. And in that year, nutrition was like the big new thing to understand and to master. And it was really hard to learn and master. I remember I started working with Hillary Irvin, and the first like 3 to 4 months, I did really good, and I got my body to a place where I felt really proud and happy, but my mental health wasn't in a super strong place. So in doing the work in the gym, I was making progress there, but a lot of the nutrition stuff was like hit or miss at different seasons. And I remember finishing a deficit with Hillary, and I wasn't able to maintain the weight I had lost. So she wouldn't let me just like go back into another deficit. I had to wait about 9 months before she gave me the green light to give it a go again. And I remember that second time around, I had so much more success because it was at that point I had already started spending more time in therapy, working on my mindset and believing that, no, it is possible. You can get this strong and lean body and you can maintain it. And, just because it hasn't worked for you in the past doesn't mean that it's not going to work for you now. So, this was a longer season. And then last year, I went into a different phase where I was like, I have no interest in cutting. I actually really want to put on muscle.
Are you ready to start building strength, but feel overwhelmed by complicated workouts and influencers on social media? Foundations is your answer. If you're new to strength training and want a simple, effective way to get stronger, build muscle, and drop body fat, Foundations was designed just for you. What you'll need to get started are just 3 kettlebells. That's it. These 3 kettlebells are all you need to unlock your strength, start building muscle, and start seeing real results. There's no fancy moves, no complicated routines, just the basics that will help you to progress safely and confidently. What you'll get when you join: simple, proven exercises where you will master foundational movements like squats, deadlifts, and presses that will give you strength and confidence. A progressive training program, step-by-step video and written guidance to help you improve no matter where you are starting from. A safe, effective training routine. You'll get to focus on form and build a body that's strong from the inside out. And the best part, it's DIY. You can start right away, no waiting around. You just buy the program today and you get to start building strength from the comfort of your home. You don't need to be fancy to get strong. You just need a solid foundation and the right approach. Foundations is perfect for the woman who is new to strength training and wants to take it at her own pace. She wants to feel empowered, she wants to feel strong, and she wants to feel more confident in her body. If you're ready to begin, visit www.colleenconlon.com for more details and grab your Foundations program today. Again, all you need are 3 kettlebells. I'll take care of the rest. And I want to put on more strength than I've ever been able to do up until this point. So I decided, I was going to go into a surplus and I was going to focus on my really heavy compound lifts, like my deadlift and my squat. And that meant, not doing a whole lot of Turkish get-ups. That meant not doing a whole lot of snatches and some of those kettlebell exercises that I really
love so much because it wasn't serving my goal in the most efficient way as possible. And if you know me, I love efficiency. I love focusing on really trying to nail one big thing before thinking about doing something else. And in doing all of that, I've made a lot of progress, and I'm now back in this season where we're trying to cut the body fat from the muscle that has been put on. And I'm going to be going into a new phase of training where I'm trying to focus a little bit more on my mobility, because that's something that started to kind of lack by doing so much focused work on more traditional lifts. And I want to bring this up to you to remind you that it's okay for goals to change and seasons to allow for different focuses to take precedence. So I'm at this point right now where I'm really happy with my body. I don't foresee any upcoming seasons where I'm going to do anything to really manipulate it. Instead, I really just kind of want to maintain what my body looks like. And I want to focus in on continuing to get strong, but not having that be the primary focus. I want to continue to focus on my strength training, but I want to bring some more mobility back into my practice. And I feel really excited about that. And the way I see it is it's probably going to be something that I hang with for, maybe a year, maybe a couple years. And then I'm sure there will be something that comes up where I'm like, you know what, I actually want to shift my focus and maybe go back to something else. I've had people ask me, would you ever go after the Guinness World Record again? And to be completely transparent, yeah, I would consider doing it again. But I also understand that if I were to do it again, there would need to be things that I'm doing to prepare myself for a successful attempt. And that probably means, not just taking a year, but probably taking a couple of years to prioritize upper body strength, prioritize endurance, and make sure I'm set up for success. And that might mean not doing as many deadlifts or squats or like stuff that has been so ingrained over the last couple of years. And that's okay. And, I've also thought to myself, if I wanted to completely pivot out of the stuff I was doing, I could do that, and that would be okay too. Now, I don't like running, and I'm not knocking running. If you're somebody who loves running, I think that's great. I don't like running, and I think that all comes from the fact that I abused it growing up as a means to stay small. But, if ever I was thinking, I want to run a marathon, or I want to do something that has a heavy focus on running, I would totally pivot my focus to doing that and have that be the priority without necessarily putting this pressure on myself that I need to be strength training 5 times a week in addition to that. I think it's really important to understand that depending on your goals, like different things, they need to shift a little bit, and that's okay. And regardless of even like the training focus, you might be in a season of life where it's just like, I can't do all the things right now, or, okay, this is my time to do a lot more. For example, about 2 years ago, there was a chunk of time, the last portion of 2023, the summer till January, I was really struggling, and I was spending a lot of time in therapy. And with all of the time that I was in therapy, in addition to managing my business and my clients and being a wife, I didn't have as much time to dedicate to my training. And that meant not getting as many training sessions. And that meant, the volume being decreased. And that's okay, because that's what was required in that season of life. And then I've had other times where it's like, no, I have 2 hours that I want to spend in the gym. And I know that's not going to be realistic for everyone, but for me and my goals, if I have that time and I want to dedicate it to something like a performance goal or even aesthetics, like, great, this is a moment to really crush it, and I'll do that. But it's okay for things to change, and it's okay for things to not always be the same. I think what's really important is to believe that you can achieve your goals and you can get after things. I think what gets really hard is when you set a goal and you do not complete it. And I think that can be really challenging because in order to become a confident person, you have to earn your confidence. Like, confidence is not something anybody is born with. It's something that has to be earned through overcoming obstacles. And I know for me, once I started training with the kettlebells and I started, having these challenges, like learn how to snatch it, learn how to do the Turkish get up, and actually completing those things, I gained a lot of confidence, and it allowed me to try other things in my life, like starting an online business and moving across the country and accomplishing my Guinness World Records. And because I've been able to do all those things, it helps me to believe that, okay, just because something's going to change in terms of my fitness right now, not because I necessarily have like a different thing I want to focus on in regards to training, but like, maybe this is a really tough business season, or this is a really tough season in regards to my mental health, and I need to prioritize energy and attention elsewhere. I can come back to this and I can still crush my goals because I've already gained that confidence to believe in myself that yes, I can. I think for people who haven't taken the time to earn their confidence, it's harder. It's really hard to think I'm going to achieve this thing and then I fail, to think that it's possible to like jump around in like different seasons with different goals, but with different goals. So all to say, if you're somebody who hasn't earned the confidence to believe that I can set a fitness goal and I can achieve it, I would encourage you should pick something to sink your teeth into and prove to yourself that you can do that, because that confidence is going to serve you in such a massive way. And then once you have that confidence, you can I wouldn't say like relax, but what I will say is you can trust that whatever life decides to bring forward to you, whether it's a tougher season of life or a lighter season, but just like a different season of life, you can continue to make progress. You can change your focus. You can, prioritize other things, and you can still move yourself forward one step at a time.
Thanks for tuning in. If this episode hit home, don't forget to leave a rating and review. Women are stronger together. So share this with a woman who you want to see rise. When we embrace positive takeaways, we level up, and when we share them, we change the world. Follow us on Instagram at The Dangerous Women Podcast and let us know what you want to hear next. And remember, dangerous women redefine wellness and the world. So be fierce, be authentic, be dangerous.